Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jamie and today we are doing the mid-year book freakout tag. Yes, this is the staple mid-year book freakout tag that is done by pretty much everyone on BookTube every year. It is the signifier that we are halfway through 2024. Don't even get me started, that's insane. And we are reflecting on the 47 books that I have read so far this year. There are a lot of questions, so I am really going to try to do my best to be concise and quick and kind of power through this tag because I know everyone does this video. I know there's a lot out there, but I really do love thinking back on the books and the reading year that I've had so far this year and seeing what we can do to really make the second half of 2024 a fantastic reading time. And I know that some creators do this with no repeats, but I think that there will probably be some repeats in here. I'll just try to add some other things for spice just to, shake it up. But I think a couple of these probably will be repeats, but it is what it is. Okay, jumping into the first question, that is of course, what is the best book that you've read so far this year? And this is actually kind of hard because to be honest, I don't have one that jumps out as like my favorite thing. Like there's no new favorites, but I do have a couple things here. So I think the highest rated book for me personally, one that I gave a true 5 stars, that is The Witching Year, a memoir of Ernest fumbling through modern witchcraft by Diana Helmuth. This is a memoir. It's exactly what it sounds like. A woman tries to become a witch by going through and researching and practicing for a year. And it's just a very poignant and relatable memoir to me because it's all about this woman who is a natural skeptic trying to learn and kind of, embrace the idea of religion without actually being a part of an organized religion. And also the witchcraft element is just really fun. And I thought it was really well written. I thought Diana was such a fun person to follow, and she's just so similar to me that I think that's why it really worked for me. I don't know if everyone's going to have the same reaction, but for me, this one really worked. Of course, a memoir, that's nonfiction. So for my novel answer, that is A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles. This is my first Towles book and I was just blown away. It took me a really long time to read it because the language is so dense, so beautiful. Everything in here is just done pitch perfect. It's a beautifully written story about a man who gets sentenced to live in the Metropole Hotel in Moscow, and he's on basically house arrest at this hotel, and it's just about him following him through the rest of his life as he lives in this hotel and meets the guests and the other hotel workers that are in there. And it's just a really beautiful, moving story that I just adored. Question number 2 is, what is the best sequel that you've read this year? I don't read series hardly ever, so I really don't have an answer for this. I have a couple that I have, some plans to read eventually, but I really don't read them that often, and the only answer I have to this are a couple manga. I have The Promised Neverland Volume 2 and Witch Hat Atelier Volume 2. I didn't like either of these better than the first one, I think they're fine. These are just, I don't know. If you read manga, you know that just one volume is it's just not very much story. I liked them both perfectly fine, so I like them both equally. I guess that's my answer. Question number 3 is, what is a new release that you haven't read yet but you are excited to? And I definitely could go on for hours about this specific question. I have a lot, but the one that I have in front of me right now, the one that I'm most excited to read, that is Lost in the Garden by Adam S. Leslie. This is a brand new release. I think it came out in like maybe early, mid-June, somewhere in there. And this is a kind of haunting, ethereal, semi-horror book about these, I believe they're girls that are like trapped in an endless summer in England, and there's like something spooky about it. And as they travel through ever-shifting geography and encounter strange voices in the fizz of the shortwave radio, the harder it becomes to tell friends from Beau. So I think this is going to be a bit of an odd, maybe even experimental story, but I'm very excited to read it in summer because of the setting, and I just hope that it has like the perfect like semi-spooky atmosphere. I'm so excited to dive into this one. Question number 4 is, what is your most anticipated release for the second half of 2024? That is without a doubt, this is a very easy answer for me. It's Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. Obviously, Sally Rooney's new book. I need to get my hands on it the second it comes out, and I could not be more excited. This is my most highly anticipated book of 2024. Question number 5, what was your biggest disappointment? I mean, I've had lots of books that I would say were disappointments this year. I would say Diavola, I would say Phantom of the Opera, maybe Happiness Falls could be considered a big disappointment. Lots of books. Honestly, a lot of them have been disappointing. That's because I get my hopes too high. But by far, the biggest disappointment, because really, like, if I haven't read the author before, how can I really be disappointed? Because I didn't even know, what they're like. So all those ones I said before, I've never read from before. Oh, like Nestlings, yeah, same by Nat Cassidy, yeah. I hadn't read from any of those authors before, so it's not really fair of me to say that those were, like, a genuine disappointment because I didn't know anything about them. It was hype that I created in my mind solely, like, without any reason. So those were disappointing, but the biggest disappointment by far was The Bone Clocks by David Mitchell. Yeah, this one actually genuinely hurt me because David Mitchell wrote one of my favorite books of all time, Cloud Atlas. I love him as an author. I think he's so brilliant. He's such a good writer, but man, this book was not only very odd and weird and hard to follow, but it was also just so dull. I could not wait for it to be over. And that is just so tragic because I have loved David Mitchell in the past. I've read several of his books and this was just painful. Moving on though, question number 6, what is your biggest surprise? And that, I think this easily goes to We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kilware. I just read this book and wow, I read it in like 24 hours, like basically one sitting. I was shocked. First of all, at how scary this thing actually is. I mean, look at this cover. This looks like a domestic thriller, but no. This is a horror book, like truly horror book, terrifying. It is very scary. And so it was surprising that it was that scary. And then also it was surprising that I liked it. I mean, I think horror is hard sometimes. It's definitely hard to get right. I don't always love it. So this was definitely surprising that I loved it as much as I did, but I ended up having a really great time with it. So if you love horror and you haven't picked this one up yet, I mean, I definitely think you should try it because I had a blast. Question number 7 is who is a new favorite author? And here's where a repeat comes in. I have to say that's going to be Amor Towles. I'm very excited to pick up other things that he's written at this point. I'm just so eager to get into everything because he is a fantastic writer. But if we really don't want to say repeats, I will say that Soldier Sailor by Claire Kilroy was fantastic, and I am super interested. This is a debut, so I'm very interested to see what else Claire Kilroy does. Question number 8 is, who is your newest fictional crush? Yeah, I don't really have those. I don't have those. Can I even think of like anybody? No, I don't have those, sorry. Question number 9 is who is a new favorite character? And I don't think I really have like a complete new favorite character unless of course we want to say Gentleman in Moscow again. I mean, the main character in here, love him, but we've mentioned this book too many times, so I'll stop there. I don't know, I think another character that really does come to mind who was, I thought, fantastic, that's Emily Wilde from Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I think she was a fantastic character and definitely someone who came to mind when I thought of this question. Next question is a book that made you cry. Well, I really don't cry in books. It's been so long that I can't even remember the last time I ever actually cried during reading a book. But the book that I've chosen for this question is a book that definitely made me emotional. It made me feel things that were painful. And that is I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. Oh my gosh, this book is, it gave me an existential crisis. It's horrifying. I was not prepared for what this book is. This follows a group of women who have been living in a bunker. They've been trapped there for 40 years, since basically the dawn of an apocalypse, and they have been trapped there. They don't know what happened. They don't know who their captors are. They don't know why this is going on. They don't know anything. They have just been trapped in this cage for forever, for 40 something years. And it's just a really harrowing, heartbreaking story that definitely made me feel emotions I have not felt when reading a book in a long time. It was a fantastic book, but definitely I was not prepared for all the emotions that I felt while reading it. And then following that up, what is a book that made you happy? I don't know if this is really gonna like count. This is a reread, but that is Holic Omnibus #1 by the Clamp. I don't know who actually wrote it, but it's from Clamp manga. Holic. This is probably my favorite manga ever. I really, really love this one. This follows a high school student as he is brought into this magical shop, and basically like the witch who lives there tells him that if he works for her, she can help him get rid of his ability to see like spirits, and he wants that because they are bothering him a lot. So he agrees to work in this shop, and it just follows their magical adventures, and it's really sweet, it's really cozy. I love the manga because it is cozy, but it also has a lot of dark elements too. It brings in a lot of Japanese folklore. It deals with kind of like urban legends, and just, you know, there are dark elements to it, but it has this kind of cozy sheen over it. And if you want to talk about one of my favorite characters, it's definitely Yuko from Holic. She is the witch woman of my dreams. If you're looking for a cozy read and you like witches and magic, I think this one is just amazing. And I do plan to read all of them this summer, so then I'll get a couple more sequels under my belt. And then this question is to do with BookTube specifically, is what is your favorite video that you've made so far this year? You know, I have a lot of bigger video plans that are, you know, for the end of the year or later in the second half of the year. So I haven't done anything that's really been super big so far. But one that I definitely was happy I got out was my Memoir May reading vlog, because I planned to do it last year and I didn't get it done. So the fact that I actually was able to do that this year was fantastic. And I also read what ended up being my highest rated book so far in 2024. I read this book in that vlog, so I definitely loved that I got to do that. But I actually have a lot more video plans. It's just the second half of the year, summer and fall, is really when I'm able to kind of hit my stride with my reading and with my video making, so I'm excited for what is to come. And then, what is the most beautiful book you've acquired so far this year? I really don't know. I mean, I've had a lot of books that like I love their cover, and then I read them and I really didn't like them, and then that makes me hate the cover and I had to just unhaul them. So yeah, I don't know. I think like I'm kind of gonna cheat, because I mean, I got both Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies and Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands this year, so I love both of these so much. I think like they're probably not the most beautiful, but I just really love these cover designs, and this one is just fantastic with the green. So that's gonna be my answer for now. And then the final question is, what books do you really need to get to by the end of 2024? Oh boy, well, obviously more than I can even count, but I definitely have a couple. I have basically this whole shelf is my TBR. I would love to get to House of Leaves this year. Let's see if that happens. And then I have a couple books. I have this one. This is Trust by Hernan Diaz, and this one, as well as This Thing Between Us, I'll put it up here, that one's somewhere else. These two books, I told myself, and when I bought them at the end of last year, I said, I'm going to buy these books and read them for me, because they are things that I'm interested in. They're not, you know, for any BookTube reason. Like, these are just things that interest me, and I still haven't read them. So I have not been doing a good job of sticking to my goal and just reading things that genuinely interest me. And so these are two books that are absolutely, you know, I would like to figure out how to prioritize them in the back half of 2024. So there's that. And that is it. Those are all the questions for the mid-year book freak out tag. I will tag the creators, the original creators, down in the link below, and also put all of the questions down below in case that you want to answer them as well. I would love to hear your answers. Thank you so much for joining me as we talk about all of these books. I hope that your reading year in 2024 has been amazing, and I hope the second half is even better. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, week, month and the rest of 2024, and I will see you back here next time. Thanks so much. Bye!